Following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Welcome in to Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yao, Mo Patton. With me, as always, here on this Friday edition. It is November 4th, and I can't believe it's November. That's really woke. That's the crazy part. I'm just gonna tell you.
You talking in terms of time? You talking in terms of weather? What is your specific
both
reference
today?
Yeah,
but yeah. I can't believe it's already November. But also, I mean, what a beautiful day it is and is going to be tonight in most of Middle Tennessee for high school football.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly a night to get out. Yeah, it does not feel like the opening week of the playoffs from a weather perspective for sure. So you don't let that be the reason you don't go to a ball game for sure.
No, absolutely not. If you're going to get to one before the end of the year, this is probably the one to get to. I wouldn't chance it after this one.
It's probably as comfortable this Friday night as it's going to be the next 5. So,
I mean, I would give anything, almost anything, to get weather like we had last year in Chattanooga, but that will never happen again.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine that ever happening again. Nope.
But yeah, it's a beautiful day. I've got so many leaves just flying. I mean, you know where I live. I live in the woods. And there are just leaves everywhere. And I'm just like, man, I'm glad I don't have to do anything with these. Sure is nice. I think when we were kids, though, our parents made us go rake the leaves so we would be outside and not inside.
I guess.
It had nothing to do with anything else.
It had nothing to do with the leaves or with the yard or with anything. It was just get out.
Go outside and
get out.
Don't be in here talking loud.
Yeah,
that's all it was. Oh man, we got a good show for you. Jordan D. Hill will join us, and he's going to talk about the Georgia Bulldogs and pretty big game tomorrow afternoon in Athens that he will be at and covering for Georgia and Dogs 24/7. We'll get deep into Tennessee, Georgia. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk about the rest of the SEC football games. We'll have 10 football games from across the country that we will pick against the spread. Hopefully Mo's got at least last week's results tallied up. If not, I bet he can quickly. And what else? Oh, Titans and Chiefs on Sunday night. So should be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great show. We've got a lot to get to, and we're going to do that right now because we need to go ahead and get to you yesterday's results, today's schedule on the Rundown.
This is the Rundown.
The Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty Bob Lamb and Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support youth sports across Middle Tennessee.
In high school cross country action yesterday, Division 2A boys, Drew Johnson from Donaldson Christian won the individual state championship, while the University of School Nashville Christian Academy of Knoxville came in second, and Donaldson Christian third place. In Class A AA boys, it was Jackson Martin of Creekwood, as we told you late in yesterday's show, getting the win. Signal Mountain with the team championship, Central Magnet in second, and Memphis East taking home third place. In Division 2A girls, it was Abby Faith Cheeseman of Webb School. How many is this in a row for her? It's a bunch, right?
It's at least, I would say 3. I don't know that, but yeah.
she's been pretty well dominant in that at that
Mhm.
level for a while. But Westminster gets the team championship. Webb School coming in second. University School of Nashville taking third. And in Class A AA girls, it was Zoe Arrington of Tennessee High School taking home the individual championship, while Signal Mountain and Central Magnet, just like in the boys, take home first and second. East Hamilton, third place in that one, and local interest, Page finishing fourth in the team division there.
In women's basketball action on Thursday night, Austin Peay defeated Tusculum 80-47. Major League Baseball action last night, the Astros with a 3-2 win at Philadelphia take a 3-2 lead in the World Series as play returns to Houston for the final two games later this weekend. NHL action, the Preds with a 4-1 win on the road at Calgary. Yeah, that's huge. And the Eagles must have had a second half surge because this game was tied at halftime, I think, but defeated the Houston Texans 29-7. Unfortunately, that does not count toward the World Series tally. In college football action,
did not cover the spread either.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. Rice in Conference USA with a 37-30 win over Texas El Paso, and Coastal Carolina outlast Appalachian State 35-28 in Fun Belt play.
Did you see the Rice UTEP game or ending of it?
Did not.
Rice scored with 25 seconds to go up 37-30 to win it. Yeah.
Ooh,
so great job by Rice.
Never,
huh? There you go. In football action tonight, these games are at 7 o'clock local time. I don't know where some of these are in relation to the Eastern time zone, so I'm just gonna say 7 o'clock local to the host school. Centennials at Bartlett tonight. I do know where that one is. That one's in Memphis, or at least the Memphis area. McGavick's at Beach. Cookville at Blackman. Bledsoe County is hosting Harpeth, while Brentwood takes on Collierville at home. It's Gallatin going to Cane Ridge. Good Pasture at Chattanooga Central. That'll be at 6 o'clock Central.
Chattanooga
Christian, not Central. I'm sorry.
Christian.
John Overton is at Clarksville. Yes. Clarksville Academy is at home against Lakeway Christian. Stewart's Creek is at Coffee County, and Christ Presbyterian hosting Boyd Buchanan.
Also defending D2A state champion Donaldson Christian hosts Fayette Academy. Loretta goes to Decatur County Riverside. Eagleville is at Dresden. East Robertson hosts White House. East Robertson hosts Polk County. Maplewood goes to Fairview. Knoxville Grace is at Franklin Road Academy. Giles County hosting Brainerd at the Brickyard. Creekwood goes down to Hardin County. Independence makes the trip out west to Houston. Columbia Academy goes to Jackson Christian. Lebanon hosting Riverdale. Greenbrier goes to Lexington, and Middle Tennessee Christian takes on visiting Tipton Rosemark.
Lincoln County is at Mount Juliet, and Scotts Hill, as well as me, will be at Mount Pleasant tonight. Munford hosting Clarksville Northeast, while MUS is at home against Father Ryan. Wilson Central goes to Nolansville, and Davidson Academy travels to North Point Christian. Oakland at home against Shelbyville. Page hosting Green Hill. Jackson Southside going to Pearl Cone. Pope Prep at home against Briarcrest, while Germantown is at Ravenwood.
Adamsville is at Richland. Sycamore is at Smith County. Smyrna hosts Hendersonville. Portland goes to Southwind. Springfield hosts Memphis Central. Stratford travels to Waverly. Westmoreland takes on visiting Meigs County. And Joe Burns is at Whitwell.
In association action this weekend tonight, the Hornets are at the Grizzlies. It's a 7 o'clock tip on Valley Sports Southeast. On Sunday, the Grizzlies stay at home. They'll host the Wizards at 5 o'clock on Valley. NHL action on Saturday. The Preds are in Vancouver. That's a 9 p.m. puck drop on Valley Sports South. In Major League Baseball action, Game 6 is tomorrow night in Houston with the Phillies taking on the Astros. It's a 7:03 first pitch on Fox, and if necessary, they'll play Game 7. It's the Phillies at the Astros again, 7:03 Fox first pitch.
College football action on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Bethel is at Cumberland. Is that tomorrow? thought that was the 12th. Because I was planning to go.
Oh, it may be. I just looked at the next game on the schedule. I didn't even happen to see that. I just assumed it was today.
I think it's
tomorrow.
next Saturday.
It is, in
let's
fact.
see
You're
it.
right. I apologize.
Okay, good. Thank you. I was scared there for a minute. MTSU is at La Tech. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff on ESPN Plus at 2:30. Number 1 Tennessee is at number 3 Georgia. Again, that's a 2:30 kick Central Time on CBS. At 4 o'clock on ESPN Plus, Austin Peay travels to Florence, takes on North Alabama and their interim football coach. 5 o'clock on ESPN3, Tennessee State hosting Southeast Missouri State, big Ohio Valley Conference tilt. And at 6:30 on the SEC network, South Carolina is at First Bank Stadium against the Commodores. Also, 7:20 on Sunday night, as Chris mentioned earlier, the Titans are at Kansas City against the Chiefs. Again, that's a 7:20 kick on NBC. And that is your rundown.
All right. Top story today coming out of Knoxville or out of the stands, depending on where you're standing. And it started as a meme, but now Hendon Hooker is taking it to the next level, signing a deal for his name, image, and likeness to be used in conjunction with French's Mustard. All I'm saying is
perfectly good. I think the question is, what took so long?
That's the. I mean, I don't know how this. I don't know how this wasn't an automatic.
What took so long?
I mean, I would have.
And I mean, there's got to be a commercial of him throwing it, right?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, there can't be. I don't know how else you do.
If there's not, what's the point?
I love one of the tweets that is embedded in this is from noted Tennessee fan who lives in the Huntsville area, Lace _J_BEEB. She dressed up on Halloween this year as a Tennessee fan, and her baby was had a yellow mustard costume.
A French's mustard bottle.
Well, it's actually Hunt's, but yeah, it's mustard no matter what.
Oh, it's mustard.
It's mustard. Yeah. That matter of fact,
I think the mustard is the point, not the name brand. Yeah,
correct. But it's just interesting, man. I love this. I think this is kind of what NIL is supposed to be.
I think so. Yeah, I think it is. You know, taking advantage of situations that crop up and somebody, you know, making a connection there. I think, you know, something that is unique to a certain school or to a certain person, that kind of thing. I feel like that's, you know, where NIL is going to be at its best. I mean, where you're not trying to force something. This is a no-brainer here.
Yeah, no question. I hate because I didn't think this through, but give me just a second here, and I will show you the sneakers that Hendon Hooker was given by French's Mustard. He's quoted as saying that French's Mustard, he's always been a fan like his whole life. And like, I don't know that I've ever been a fan of like a specific brand of anything like that.
I don't know.
But these shoes are pretty sweet.
Those shoes are sweet. And that is definitely yellow. That's not orange.
Oh, that's definitely mustard yellow.
That's mustard yellow without question. But yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, I don't think mustard is mustard. I mean, I feel like there probably are subtle differences, and if you use a lot of it, you can probably pick up on them. So
yeah, there you go.
I mean, A1 or Heinz 57? Which one do you use? I mean, I don't use either anymore, but I mean,
I like Heinz 57 on hamburger steaks. True story.
okay.
Big fan. Now, A1, it depends. There are certain things that I will use it on. Like I'll put it on like if I'm making a Philly cheesesteak at home or something, I'll put it on that when I'm cooking the steak part. So, but I rarely use A1.
So there you go. So you have a preference.
Yeah.
So why would you think Hendon wouldn't?
I don't know. I think mustard A1 and Heinz 57 are completely different taste profiles though. Mustard kind of all tastes the same just about. I don't know.
Kind of all taste the same just about.
It's close. I mean, I couldn't taste the difference. Maybe you can. Maybe like you said, if you
I don't know if I can or not, but apparently he can. I'm not. But I mean, apparently he can is all I'm saying.
Here's the thing is which one's flying at your head. If you're on the sideline.
I mean, do you take the time to read the label as you're trying to duck?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's take a quick break. Jordan Hill is awaiting, and we're going to talk Tennessee football taking on Georgia. This weekend's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be right back here on Main Street Sports Days, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton coming to you here on this Friday edition as we get you ready for college football and some Titans, of course, a little bit later in the show as well. We'll be picking 10 of the biggest college football games against the spread a little bit later, so make sure to stick around for that. We'll also give you the systems record. It's been pretty good. So make sure you pick with the system. Trust me. Don't listen to any of us. But the biggest game of the weekend, talk about no-brainers, Mo. This is a no-brainer. It's a top 3 matchup that has huge implications in regards to the college football playoff and really everything that every SEC team wants. and that is an SEC championship. The winner of this game certainly feels like they are in the driver's seat all the rest of the way. And so now to talk a little Tennessee, Georgia, we have Dogs 24/7 writer. What's sorry, we were playing musical chairs there for just a second. Jordan D. Hill with us. Jordan, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I was sort of hoping we were going to fix this conversation on that A1 and Heinz 57. I thought, what else is there to talk about this week? I'm A1, Team A1 all the way, man.
I'm Team A1 as well, Jordan. So that's good to know. I think as I got older, my taste kind of matured. I rarely do steak sauce at all on steak, but I don't mind A1 on a burger from time to time. So, but yeah, I'm Team A1 as it relates to Heinz 57 for sure. Jordan, appreciate you taking some time to visit with us. Obviously, it's a busy weekend for you. I don't think anybody really anticipated this game having the ramifications that it does in 24 hours at the onset of the season.
No, not at all. I mean, and I've talked about this with a few other radio stations getting ready for this game. I did think Tennessee was going to be improved. Back at Media Days, I picked Tennessee second in the East behind Georgia. I look back before the season, I predict all the games and try to put what I think would be the final spread of the game. I said Georgia by 16. Obviously, the line right now, last I looked, was somewhere around 8 points, 8.5 points. But credit to Josh Heupel and those guys, the amount of progress they've made. When he was hired in January of 2021, we didn't really know what to expect, even the people outside of, Knoxville and just looking at the SEC as a whole. And, I thought Josh did a good job at UCF, but I sort of expected the pinnacle or the height that he could hit would probably be the best years of the Butch Jones era. 8 wins, 9 wins, somewhere around in there. And credit to those guys. They've done an excellent job bringing in talent, finding guys like Hendon Hooker, and have done an excellent job. And it's got the makings for a game that, probably will have very serious playoff ramifications by the time we get to December.
It's interesting that you said that because we didn't realize this. I'm sure we knew it at the time, but we didn't realize that Hendon Hooker actually signed under Jeremy Pruitt. He was a Jeremy Pruitt technical recruit. It's so wild. And yet nobody, including Jeremy Pruitt, knew what Hendon Hooker could potentially be. And he's certainly been a pleasant surprise for Tennessee fans and for the SEC, no doubt. I guess pleasant for some people and not so pleasant for others. That being said, obviously Georgia comes in with one of the best statistical defenses in the country, but one of the places that they struggle is rushing the passer, and it didn't get any better with the loss of the top pass rusher this week. So what does Georgia have to do in the defensive front seven to kind of put some pressure on Hendon Hooker?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge part of this game. And you mentioned it, losing Nolan Smith, I think that's significant. I think, not only for his production, what he could do. And he got hurt in the first quarter of the Florida game, and I sort of thought that was going to be his best game of the season. He was off to a really good start. Losing his leadership, to me, it puts the onus on the defensive line. Guys like Michael Williams, Jalen Carter, who is a defensive tackle, probably the best player on either side of the ball for Georgia, finally got back and played the most snaps he had played pretty much since probably week 2 or week 3 after dealing with an MCL injury. They need those guys to step up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the inside linebackers, Jamon Dumas-Johnson and Smile Munden, if they get creative with those two, if they decide to blitz them a good bit, if they decide to kind of unleash them and let them get after Hendon Hooker, because, there's enough examples at this point in the season that we know that Hendon Hooker can make defenses pay. If you give him time, he's going to find players downfield and be able to generate big plays. Yeah, I mean, it's been a weakness for Georgia even when it had Nolan Smith, and losing him, it just really, really puts a lot of pressure on these guys to step up and find a way to get to Hendon Hooker.
At the same time, do you feel like it's kind of a risk-reward type situation if you do resort to blitzing Hooker?
Oh yeah, for sure, especially because of how quickly he makes decisions. I mean, and I listened to Hendon talk to the Tennessee reporters earlier this week, and he talked about something he's grown a lot in is being confident in making quick decisions. And I mean, you just look at the way Tennessee plays, and I've talked about this stat a lot this week, but they're something like fifth worst, and I kind of put that in quotation marks, in time of possession, but they're leading the entire nation in scoring. Well, that tells you, they're scoring quickly. He makes so many good decisions, and he does such a good job of holding on to the ball. Only 3 interceptions last year, and has done something very similar to this point in the year. It is going to be a risk reward situation, and to me, the guy that I am the most interested in for Georgia on either side of the ball is going to be Keely Ringo, one of the starting corners. He's a guy that, for anyone listening who doesn't quite follow Georgia all the time, he's a guy that had the pick six in the national title game that pretty much sealed the deal, that let Georgia know they were going to win the championship. He's had kind of an up and down season. He's had his moments. He's also had moments where he, had missed time jumps or had picks he should have made that he dropped. You cannot afford, if you have a chance at an interception against Hendon Hooker, you cannot afford to drop it. He's going to be tested, along with the rest of the Georgia secondary, by this Tennessee receiving core. And I'm very to see what those matchups look like. And if a guy like Keely Ringo, a guy that a lot of people think could be a top 10, top 15 draft pick come next April, if he rises to the challenge.
He is their best cornerback. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. The other starting corner is Kamari Lassiter. He's a talented guy, but you can definitely say he has gone through growing pains. He's had moments in the Vanderbilt game. He got pulled out for a bit. Kirby Smart, want to have a chat with him on the sideline after a missed tackle. Keely is definitely their top corner. And I do still think he's a very talented player and a guy that can make plays if he's given the opportunity. But it's been a little underwhelming, and I say that, saying that there was no way he could have matched what everyone sort of expected after you make, a 79-yard pick six to win a national title.
I guess the question that I was setting up there is, how do you take best advantage of Ringo against this offense? I mean, who do you try to take away?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the question. And I think that's sort of the situation that Georgia's got to go into this game and try to figure out. I'm expecting Georgia to play a man, and I think they're going to give their guy like Keely Ringo and say, look, we trust you. We understand that this is a challenge, but, you've trained for this. And the thing we've heard throughout the year and really, the entire Kirby Smart era, players always say, they make practice harder than the games. They make practice so when we're at the games, it doesn't feel quite as difficult. This is going to be one of those games where we're going to really test that theory because, especially for the Georgia defense, I think it's going to be a really tall task. I think Tennessee, whether Tennessee wins or loses this game, I'm not expecting Tennessee to only score, 7-10 points. They're going to make plays. I'm very intrigued just to see how these defenders, again, really these defensive backs more than anybody, how they respond when they do give up big plays, because there's been a few of those along the way this season. Malachi Starks, who's a very talented true freshman, he bit on a play last week, turned into a 78-yard touchdown for Florida. So this defense is still really good, but it is not, it's as susceptible as anybody to giving up big plays, especially when you're playing an offense like Tennessee.
Now, on the other side of the ball, obviously a lot has been made about Tennessee's defense, and I think there's a little truth out there, but I also think there's some misconceptions about this Tennessee defense. They are as good as anybody at stopping the run, and Georgia has got to find a way to establish the run game to take some pressure off of Stetson Bennett. How can Georgia mix up their offense enough to force Tennessee to respect the run and open it up for Stetson Bennett in the defensive secondary?
Well, I think they're in good position. They've really, I feel like, started running the ball better the last few weeks. They came out in that Oregon game, and it felt like all they did was pass. They did have some very productive runs along the way, but I want to see sort of along those lines how these tight ends for Georgia play, not only in the passing game, because I think they could be a difference maker, and I expect if this game is tight, to see Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington get the ball a lot. But these guys can block, and both those guys are very willing blockers. In that game against Florida last week, Dejon Edwards sprung about a 22-yard touchdown. If you go back and watch the play, set up beautifully by Brock Bowers, he kind of comes and gets in right in front of Dejon and kind of clears a hole for him to hit. Both those tight ends, I think, will get involved, and we'll see a lot of two tight end sets that will allow Georgia to run the ball. And I think they've really started to kind of key in on their top running backs. It's Kenny McIntosh, who we expected coming in the year, and then Dejon Edwards, a guy that was sort of the forgotten back coming into this season, but he's played really well, played well against Missouri, played well against Auburn, and has continued, just runs hard, keeps the pile moving forward. I think that they are well set up to where they don't have to just completely rely on the pass game to say, Stetson, we're expecting you to throw it 50, 55 times. They don't have to do that, and I think that we're going to see a good amount of work from Kenny McIntosh and Dejon Edwards as well, and having the big number 19 and even bigger number 0 blocking for him to help him get downfield.
Jordan D. Hill of Dogs247.com with us on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Jordan, local fans around here would shoot us if we didn't ask about former Cane Ridge receiver A.D. Mitchell and what his status is, or what you anticipate his status being coming into this ball game.
Yeah, it's been really kind of a frustrating season for AD. He gets hurt on the first play of the Samford game, the first offensive play of the Samford game. And I think he played 4 snaps against Auburn, and then he's kind of had to deal with the same high ankle sprain coming out of that game. I don't anticipate he'll play. I think it will be a situation on Saturday where they bring him out there during warmups and see how he's looking and how feasible it is for him to play. But just based on what we've heard all week, he's really not been practicing with the team. It's been more of just going through his rehab and trying to come back. It's quite a shame. He was going to be their number 1 receiver. He's a guy that obviously made that big catch in the national title game and showed flashes even in sort of limited capacity. When you just look at that Oregon game before he got hurt, he looked really good. But just based on what I know, I don't think he'll play, but I think they will at least get him out there during pregame and just see if it's possible at all for him to play.
Jordan, when you look at this game from a Georgia standpoint, it is a must-win game for the Bulldogs if they want to have any kind of chance at the college football playoff, wouldn't you think? I mean, outside of extra stuff happening.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think that if you lose, you got to get a lot of help. You need TCU to lose. You probably need Clemson to lose. I mean, I think it's fair to say, especially because they do not have that impressive win that Tennessee does over Alabama. I wouldn't say it's impossible, and if Georgia loses, just write them off. It's impossible, no way. But you got to win out, and you certainly need a lot of help if it's going to happen.
So that said, is Tennessee better equipped to withstand a loss here than Georgia is?
I think so, just from the fact this is a road game. I think Tennessee does definitely need to play well. If this game, we walk away from this game tomorrow and Georgia wins by 3 or 4 touchdowns, I don't think it really helps. But if it is a pretty competitive game, and if Tennessee takes care of business the rest of the season, it could be a situation. I brought this up earlier in the year with 2017 Alabama, where they lose to Auburn in the Iron Bowl. They don't play in the SEC championship game. Well, then Auburn was in position to make the playoff, but Georgia beats them in the conference title game, and Alabama gets in, and so does Georgia. So, I mean, I think of the two teams, I think Tennessee is in a better position given that they are the road team and given that Alabama win to, withstand this loss and still be a potential playoff contender.
Jordan D. Hill at Jordan Davis Hill. Find his work at dogs247.com. Jordan, we appreciate you taking some time with us today. This is going to be a phenomenal football game, and I'm for one, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great no matter what happens.
I agree. I think it's going to be one that's worth watching. And, we throw around game of the century a whole lot, but I think whoever wins this game, I think it's going to be well fought and well earned.
Jordan, we appreciate your time as always, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You guys enjoy the rest of Friday.
We will do. We will do. All right. That's going to take us to a break here. Mo, we've got SEC football previews coming your way, and we'll talk Vanderbilt. Can they get a win over South Carolina? A lot of folks saying maybe so. We'll find out what Mo thinks right after this on Main Street Sports Today. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best-looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. It is College Football Friday, basically. We're going to talk college football pretty much the entire show. Obviously, there will be a short segment on the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs as well. But, Mo, this is a very important weekend in college football, especially in the Southeastern Conference, because I think just about everybody plays. Let's see. I think there's one team maybe that's on an off week this week, but just about everybody is on the field. And I know we just said Tennessee can withstand a loss, but boy, it sure would be nice if some of those teams that they beat were able to get some wins over, opponents like Missouri with Kentucky and Missouri in Como, 11 a.m.'s SEC Network. Missouri coming off that win, Kentucky got just very deflated, I would have to assume. Is this a game that Missouri can slip up and win?
Missouri's played some folks close. Looking at you, Georgia. If Kentucky doesn't go into this thing in the right frame of mind, like you said, it's in Como. Kentucky just got blasted in a game that they felt like they could win coming in. So, whatever coaching job Mark Stoops has done this week, it's had to be between the ears as much as anything else. If Missouri comes in there and throws a couple of haymakers early, I expect Kentucky to win this ball game, but I'm not going to say Missouri couldn't.
That's the thing. I don't know what Kentucky's mindset is right now. They're looking at, at best a 9-win season when they thought they were going to be competing for an SEC East championship. They've still got Georgia on the schedule. So, you feel like it's more likely that it's going to be an 8-4 season and probably not even in the top 25. You're looking at a Music City Bowl, something like that. And that's not what this team expected to be coming into this year. So you really have to, you've got to make a decision if you're a Kentucky football player. How are we going to finish this season out? How do we bounce back from that loss to Tennessee? So,
and for what it's worth, Kentucky isn't bowl eligible yet.
There's that. Luckily Missouri is a team that you feel like you're more talented than, if nothing else. Mm-hmm. So figure out a way to get a win in Como, and then things are kind of back on track if you're Kentucky.
Right.
Now, another one of those teams is Florida. Tennessee really needs Florida to get back into the top 25, and they go to Texas A&M. And unfortunately, this is not a game that is going to help the resume all that much anymore, but it's also an 11 a.m. kick.
Yeah, it's not a resume booster at this point.
And 11 a.m. kick on ESPN. That's really not the time slots you thought this game might be in, but obviously at Texas A&M, tough place to play. But boy, it sure would be nice if Florida could get that win. If you're a Tennessee fan,
well, I don't know if you're going to convince Tennessee fans to root for Florida under much of any circumstance. But yeah, again, this is a winnable game for Florida. And if you're talking about trying to boost Tennessee's resume, I don't know that it necessarily needs it. But from that standpoint, yeah, a Florida road win over A&M, I guess it has some degree of aid. I'm not sure how much beating Texas A&M means these days.
Well, it's interesting because, obviously they didn't win at all in the month of October. Did not get a single win. A&M 0-4. And lost to Mississippi State on the road, Alabama on the road to Alabama's backup quarterback, South Carolina on the road, and then lost by 3 to 15th ranked Ole Miss or 11th ranked Ole Miss, whatever you want to call them, last week at home. To me, I feel like this is a game Texas A&M wins for whatever reason.
Well, that O for October probably has something to do with it. And Florida's not been great.
No,
and they lost at home to Kentucky. They beat Utah early, but they've not really backed that up with anything of any note, have they?
No. So Florida's, you look at Florida's record and you go, okay, well, they've beaten South Florida, Eastern Washington, and Utah, Missouri. Utah's a good win, but they lost by 10 to LSU. Now, granted, their losses are to Kentucky, Tennessee, LSU, and Georgia.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like they played a cupcake schedule.
And that LSU loss is looking better and better all the time.
Right. So I don't really know what this team, again, Florida also not bowl eligible. Neither is A&M. Obviously they're 3-5.
Either of them. Right.
A&M probably needs to win this game in order to even think about being bowl eligible at some point this year.
They need to win this game to think about being bowl eligible. They also need to win this game to kind of quell some of that talk about who's going to stroke this $86 million check.
No doubt.
Because, I mean, again, this is at home.
It is.
If Florida goes into College Station and wins this ball game after an O for October, then I think that, I don't know what the rest of A&M's schedule looks like, but bowl eligibility really starts to slip away once they get to 3-6, I would think. And that talk really gets loud, I would imagine.
They got to win this game because the rest of their schedule is at Auburn, which we've seen coaching changes this year make a big difference.
All this year, interim coaches have been the hot thing, man. I'm kind of surprised more folks haven't fired their guys.
So watch out for Auburn next week on the Plains. Folks will be fired up for it because they've Cadillac's back and all those things. Then they get UMass. That's a win. But then they play LSU.
And that's not.
So you got to win 3 of the next 4.
Where is that LSU game?
It's at home.
It's at College Station.
In College Station.
I
think this weekend.
This is a swing game right here. Yeah.
I think this weekend determines LSU's mindset going into that game too. I think it could make a difference. If LSU's playing for a spot in the SEC championship game in that final week, their mindset's going to be a lot different than if, they're not.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So you kind of got to hope LSU loses if you're Texas A&M, because
If
you
you're
don't want them
A&M,
playing for
yeah.
a spot in Atlanta against you.
Right.
But yeah, I think this is a game Texas A&M wins, but I think this is probably a toss up. The next 3 games on the schedule: Tennessee, Georgia, Liberty, Arkansas, and Alabama, LSU are in our pick'em.
Liberty, Arkansas is in our pick'em.
Well, it is, and I kind of thought it was interesting, but I mean, you're talking about what, 7-1 Liberty against Arkansas. So 6:30 on ESPN2, Mississippi State hosting Auburn. So quickly how Andy Burcham's prediction went sideways.
Yeah, well,
but Mississippi State 5-3, Auburn 3-5. This is a game that Auburn was winning by about 20 points last year before Mississippi State broke Bo Nix and Brian Harsin, apparently. What's the mindset here after, you've had an off week to deal with your 30-6 loss to Alabama, and you've got Auburn, Georgia, and Ole Miss in November. Well, and oh, by the way, ETSU, who's FCS playoff team. So.
Yeah. I mean, you've had an opportunity to kind of hit the reset button, I guess, a little bit if you're Mississippi State, but I think, as you mentioned, interim coaches have been the flavor of the day this season, and Auburn's got one now, and Cadillac Williams, I think, is going to have these guys fired up, and I mean particularly fired up. And it's his alma mater. I think it's going to be a lot like Mickey Jacobs taking over out at Nebraska after Scott Frost got the axe. I think you're going to see possibly the best Auburn team you've seen this year Saturday night. And
how ironic, though. Mississippi State, Auburn, they just swapped ADs. I wonder if Cohen will just ride down with the football team and stay.
Well, I imagine he's still got a house to pack up over there, so he's probably got some things he needs to take care of. So, send some moving trucks over there, and like you said, hit your ride down and ride back with one of those guys. But it's just an interesting dynamic all the way around. The new Auburn AD is the ex-Mississippi State AD. Auburn's got so much going on, but I just think that
if Auburn wins this game, they've got A&M at home next week, and Western Kentucky at home the 19th. Now, Western Kentucky 2 weeks ago was a game I thought they might lose. Now, I don't think – I think there's a possibility they probably win that game. More likely a probability they win that game.
Well, I think they do too, because I just feel like this team is getting ready to surge. I think Robbie Ashford is starting to get more and more comfortable at quarterback, and he's a guy that can do some damage both with his arm and with his legs, and I think Auburn's getting ready to go on a run.
If I were Auburn, if I were Auburn, I'd run the option all day long. I'd line up and I'd run speed options, and put your guys in motion to lead block. I would run options all day long, because Ashford is disgusting with his legs. Yeah. He's a weapon, and you need to use him if you can. That's what I would do.
And what do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose? Absolutely. Who cares what offense you're running? Because here's the thing: you win this game, and suddenly Texas A&M is going, "Oh crap! Auburn's playing for bowl eligibility here." And the winner of that game is, kind of looking at Birmingham or something like that. And I think right now, as upset as Auburn was last year to be in Birmingham, I think they would be excited to be in Birmingham next year.
It's funny how that works,
isn't it? So They got to win the next 3 though, because obviously Alabama looms after Thanksgiving.
Right.
So I don't know. I think this is a game that Auburn probably wins just because it's a different Auburn team. I think obviously it's at Mississippi State, so that's a difference maker. I think if it were at Jordan-Hare, there'd be a little bit more love for Auburn, but I don't know. I think it's a toss up at this point.
I think, excuse me. Again, I just think Cadillac is going to be a breath of fresh air in that locker room.
I agree with you completely.
And I think that's going to make a difference. Excuse me.
Want to take a play out of your playbook there, Mo, because my throat was getting a little dry too, But South Carolina travels to Nashville, 6:30 kick on SEC Network. It is the SEC Network Saturday night game of the week at First Bank Stadium. That's interesting to say,
isn't it?
As Vanderbilt hosts the Gamecocks, and a lot of folks high on Vanderbilt in this one after South Carolina's loss last week to Missouri. I mean, here's the thing. What is the fan situation on Saturday night in Nashville with, folks really thinking Vanderbilt's got a shot?
That's a good question. And I don't have an answer for you. I mean, typically it feels like Vanderbilt's biggest wins, the wins that I remember most, have come on the road. They played a pretty good Georgia team pretty close in Nashville and wound up losing that one on a fumble late that I recall. But they beat Georgia between the hedges. They beat South Carolina in Columbia. That was the last time they beat South Carolina. I think it was 17-6. And I think South Carolina has won the last 13 or so. But I don't know what a home crowd does for Vanderbilt in a game that they are, I don't know if expected is the right word, but people feel like they've got a particularly good chance of winning a ball game. So I don't know how the fan situation impacts that, but the way South Carolina's playing right now, they're really up and down and inconsistent. Who's quarterbacking Vanderbilt?
That's the question. I think that is a question going in. Apparently AJ Swan went out in the second half of that game with that undisclosed injury, but they had the off week last week. I don't know the answer.
I never understood the move from Mike Wright, who you took to media day, to AJ Swan, a true freshman anyway. I mean, I know that you feel like he's looked really good in practice and that kind of thing, but I feel like for Vanderbilt in the Southeastern Conference, Mike Wright's skill set gives you the best chance to be successful. So I'm interested to see what they do at quarterback tomorrow night. And I think their chances are better with Wright than they are with Swan, but who knows?
That Wake Forest game was bad for Mike Wright for whatever reason. When he came out and Swan came in and they looked decent, it really, and then obviously going to Northern Illinois.
Go back to that Wake Forest game though, because the situation snowballed on him. I think he threw an interception that wasn't necessarily entirely his fault, and then things got worse from there. But it started with an interception that was, I
understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is that AJ Swan came in and completed 8 of 11 passes for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that kind of forced Clark Lee's hand. Then he goes up to Northern Illinois, gets a win and then the next 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, you play Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia. And it's like, okay, well, obviously neither of these guys is going to give us a very good chance to win any of these games.
Mhm.
So as Clark Lee's looking at it, you go, crap, I've kind of been forced into this now because AJ played so well against Wake Forest. We got the win at Northern Illinois. That's the problem here. Now, Mike Wright came out in the second half of the Missouri game, gave you a chance to win that one. So now you're back into they kind of forced my hand. Now who do I play? That's the problem here.
Well, that is the problem, and part of that problem is you're being reactive instead of proactive.
Maybe so. I'm just saying that's the mindset, and that's the thought process. Is like it's hard to take the ball out of the hand of the hot guy. And obviously what Mike Wright did last week makes a difference. So now he's kind of the hot guy. Plus your other guys still dealing with an injury potentially.
Maybe. Yeah.
So I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. It could be both of them at some point. And I know that
that would be very Vanderbilt-ish.
Well, but what else would you do? Which one do you pick? Which one do you go with?
Sometimes I think as a coach, you got to decide who gives us the best chance to win, looking at what else you've got offensively, and go with him and let him give you that chance over 60 minutes rather than over 4 series.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, that's why you get paid what you get paid. That's why you're the head football coach. You got to make that decision.
If it was easy, anybody could do it.
No doubt. A lot of folks high on Vanderbilt. A lot of folks. I too am high on Vanderbilt.
And who'd have thought that you'd be saying that?
Against South Carolina? No. Go figure. Go figure.
I guess Spencer Rattler got a little rattled last week.
Yeah, rattlered.
Yeah.
Tough weekend for South Carolina. Both of these teams coming off losses to Missouri. Go figure. And Vanderbilt lost by 3 on the road. South Carolina got drubbed at home. That's why a lot of folks are high on Vanderbilt.
Well, if you're going to compare scores.
It's unfortunate, though, even if Vanderbilt was to get to 4 wins, which I think 4 is close to what I had expected for this team. I know 3-8 was most everybody. I think, 4 is kind of the ceiling. Everybody was, thought maybe the Wake Forest game would be a win potentially, but yeah.
And I think had dude not come back, Sam, what's his last name? I lose it.
Oh yeah, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no question. If he had not been back in that game, Vanderbilt had a shot.
It's pretty convenient that he came back that weekend.
Quite unfortunate too. Yep. All right, we're going to take a break and talk about the Tennessee Titans. How about that? Titans Chiefs Sunday Night Football. Should be fun. After that, more picks coming your way right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint.
This holiday season, the largest lantern event in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. After sunset, come see more than 1,000 Chinese lanterns. All new designs including mythical beasts, a fantastical North Pole village, even a dragon soaring over your head. Welcome back to Zoo Illumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Mo Patton here with you, and it is time to talk a little Tennessee Titans as they get ready to take on the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. That game is scheduled, as we told you earlier, for Sunday night at 7:20 on NBC at Arrowhead Stadium. And Chiefs 5-2, Titans 5-2. Not all 5-2s are created equally.
No, they're not. No, they're not. You know, as we talked with Heather Williams a couple of days ago, Heather, huge Kansas City fan. What Tennessee did to beat Houston this past weekend, I don't think will work Sunday night.
No, and it looks like they're going to have to try something because it doesn't appear that Ryan Tannehill is going to be playing. He is listed officially as questionable, but I don't think many are expecting him to play.
And that puts a lot of pressure on the Titans defense, I think, because this Kansas City offense has a lot of weapons. Picked up another one a few days before the trade deadline, bringing in receiver Kadarius Toney from the Giants. You know, it'll be interesting to see if he's up this week, but they got weapons all over the place, and even as well as the Titans defense has played to this point, I don't think they've faced a team as potent offensively as Kansas City. So
ESPN staff writer Adam Teicher, whoever, says Kansas City is preparing Kadarius Toney to play in Sunday night's game. Andy Reid said, we'll try to work him in. He's a smart kid. He's been with us a couple days, so he's had a chance to talk to him. He picks up things fairly easily. So there's probably some options for him. You know, maybe nothing major, but he could certainly see the field.
Now, the thing is, I mean, for Kansas City, I feel like Kadarius Toney is a case of the rich getting richer. I mean, that's just kind of a luxury for them. I think even without him, they've still got plenty of targets for Patrick Mahomes. Especially
if Elijah Molden isn't going to play, and it doesn't appear he's going to, which is kind of odd considering the Ugo Amadi cut earlier this week. So I'm not really sure what the plan is, but obviously, yeah, they've got a couple of guys. Obviously, Travis Kelce. There's you know, and the Titans have never really defended the tight end particularly well historically. And Kelce is one of the best in the league. Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue with the Chiefs is that the Titans don't cover the tight end very well because they don't have guys who can cover them. Especially if you don't have, your outside linebackers are really pass rushers. They're not coverage guys.
Drop and cover guys. Yeah.
And then you've got Juju Smith-Schuster, which of course, obviously you've got some guys who can cover one or two, but the key is keeping 15 in the pocket and making him make decisions quickly. That's the key, the pass rush. And fact is, last year, the Titans handled that offensive line pretty well. Trey Smith's got another year under him at tackle. I think, this is a team that's you've got to get pressure, and not only do you have to get pressure, but you have to make sure that Mahomes doesn't get outside the pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you have to be very disciplined in your pressure. You've got to pressure from the outside in because, again, you lose contain on him, and he can make you pay with his legs. It's a scary proposition, and if you get too conscious of the passing game, Edwards-Helaire is going to slice you up.
Yeah, I mean they've got a great offense. Now here's the thing: the Titans have a great defense. I mean, they've got a really good defense, and
they do.
I think obviously you don't want to, rely on them to do everything. But this is also a Kansas City team that lost to the Colts.
Make it make sense.
Right. So, I mean, it just goes to prove, what Mike Vrabel says. It's hard to win in the NFL on any game.
It's hard to win a game in the NFL.
That's why I don't care. I don't care who or what the Eagles had to do or who they were playing against, who the quarterbacks were for those teams, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. 8-0 is impressive.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But, in this game, your concern is that you don't have your starting quarterback. You do have a rookie quarterback instead who, in his previous outing, wasn't great. Not necessarily any fault of his, just a statement of fact. Wasn't great. So you're going to try to, throw some things at him to make him not be great again. And anytime 22 even comes close to the ball, you're swarming him. So I think the Colts may have had a few more offensive options when they played Kansas City than Tennessee stands to on Sunday night.
It's just, this is a 12.5 point spread, Mo. I mean, the Vegas, which again last night was a 14-point spread, and ended up being a 12-point game. Not many folks out here think the Titans have a shot, and I know that at fully healthy Titans level, they have a shot because these are the type of games that they would win. But the fact is, they're not healthy. Monty Hooker's not playing. Tannehill's questionable. Bud Dupree's questionable. Jeffrey Simmons is questionable. Feels like everybody's questionable.
Thus 12.5.
So it's not going to be great.
It's not going to be pretty.
I don't think so.
But as you've said, though, these are the type games that the Titans figure out a way to win, too.
Yeah, I mean, historically under Mike Vrabel, this is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, because they are, they're so good at being tough. Like they just don't let things get to them. And,
and that's a credit, I think, to Vrabel and to J-Rob for getting guys who respond to that type thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a mindset. That's not physical talent. That's an approach. That's a personality that's, leads to that type thing.
It absolutely is. And like you said, they've done a good job of making sure that those type players are in their system. And if they're not, they're gone. I mean, you saw who's the wide receiver last year that really didn't fit the mold. I can't remember who it was, but didn't spend a lot of time with the Titans. It was just, he didn't fit the mindset and the mold of a Titans football player. And they've got 53 of them who are just alike in that mindset. So there you go. All right. Well, let's take a break, Mo. We got 10 games to pick against the spread. We'll get to them. College football right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. All right, here we go. It's time to make some picks, and we're going to do that right now. But before we do, Mo, how did we do last week?
Not well. No. Let me clarify that. I did not do well. You guys did better. Chris, you and Justin were each 7-3, and I don't know. I don't know where that ranks in terms of what you expected. I was 5-5, and most of them were, later in the day, because I think I was like 1-4 at one point. But
well, if it makes you feel any better, the system was also 5-5.
We beat the system.
That does make me feel better, actually. So yeah, thank you.
So we beat the system.
That's awesome. Congrats to you, sir.
Well, the system would have been 7-3, but Georgia won by 22 and on a 21.5 point spread, and Michigan won by 22 on a 21.5 point spread.
So we didn't cheat the system, but we got one over on them.
We did just a little bit. So,
so yeah. the system took Florida and Michigan State then in those two.
It did.
Okay. All right.
So,
yeah. All right.
Here we go. We start in the Big 12. Texas Tech at TCU. It is an 11 o'clock kick on Fox. I guess, I don't know if this is the big noon kickoff. I can't imagine it is, but it might be the best game of the week in either the Big 10 or Big 12. Texas Tech, 9.5 point dogs. TCU, of course, after that big win last week, 9.5 point favorites at home against Texas Tech. The system is taking the Raiders.
Who? Oh, the Red Raiders.
The Red Raiders.
Yeah, you threw me there.
Didn't TCU get in sort of a sticky situation with their game last week? Didn't they get a little scared? Or what? Am I? Maybe that's not correct.
TCU has not had very good game control at all this season.
Okay, yeah.
Which is why they're ranked 7th in the college football poll.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to take the Horned Frogs. Much as I don't want to. I think they win by 10 at least.
Just
a lot of folks picking Texas Tech to win this game outright. And
I'm thinking I'm going to ride that old Patrick Mahomes alumni and take Texas Tech.
I am
the only Pat Mahomes.
I'm taking that purple team because I think with them being 7-0 and not being any higher in the CFP than they are, I think they're going to be a little frustrated.
A little chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a difference.
I like TCU in this one.
I would agree with you there. All right. About to piss y'all off. 11 o'clock on ESPNU, number 19 Tulane at Tulsa. 3-5 on the year. I'll give you as much information about Tulsa as I can give you. Tulane, 8.5-point favorites on the road. So yeah, that's really all I've got. Tulsa's 3-5.
The real power tease.
And Tulane nearly beaten is almost 8-0.
I don't need a whole lot more information than that to take Tulane. That team is rolling right now.
I agree.
What's the spread?
8.5.
Gotcha. And who's dogs?
Tulsa. Tulsa is a home dog.
Home dog.
A matchup among two teams, two of the very few teams that have mascots that don't end in S.
Oh, that changes everything.
Oh, goodness. What are you doing, Chris? You taking Tulane?
I'm taking Tulane, yes. I've got the green wave.
I'm going to go home dogs.
So you're going to take the Hurricanes over the green wave.
I am.
Hurricane, excuse me.
Just one hurricane.
One golden hurricane, yeah.
Big one,
Okay. Got to look out for those golden hurricanes. That can get kind of messy.
You better. Okay, the system is taking Tulsa as well.
What'd you got, Mo?
I got Tulane.
Okay.
All right.
The system is taking Tulsa?
Correct. 80% of the picks are on Tulane. 80.
Okay.
Wow.
2:30 Big Ten Network. Michigan State at Illinois. Illinois number 16 in the country, 7-1 on the year. Michigan State 3-5, not having a great year. It's a 16.5-point spread though in favor of the Illini. Also, no S mascot.
So, okay. So Michigan State's minus 16.5?
No, plus 16.5.
Oh, okay,
Michigan State is the dog. Yeah.
Sure.
To me, and this one is basically a 50-50 pick. It's on here, so the system can choose either one. I'm gonna go. I really want to go Michigan State here. I really want to go.
I want to go Michigan State just because I'm just not sure that Illinois can cover 17 points.
It's a lot of points.
It is a lot of points. That's why. Yep. You talked me into it. It's Michigan State
all the way.
I'm going Michigan State. What about you, Justin?
I'm going to also ride the bandwagon if y'all have room.
Come on. Yeah, I just that's a lot of points for Illinois, I think. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
3 o'clock SEC Network. Liberty 7-1 at Arkansas. Arkansas favored 14.5 points.
These are some killer spreads.
Yeah, they really are. I use this phrase a lot, but I mean, cliches are cliches for a reason. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
it is a lot of points.
I think it's particularly a lot of points against, again, a defense that has had its struggles at times, and Hugh Freeze can dial some stuff up. I'm taking Liberty to cover. I'm not taking Liberty to win. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Liberty's only loss was a 1-point loss to Wake Forest on the road. So, I mean, of course, they've not beaten anybody of note either. BYU, they drubbed BYU last week. But
I think you were right. They've not beaten anybody of note.
But yeah, I'm going to take Liberty as well. The system is taking Arkansas. That tells you that most every conventional wisdom says
Arkansas.
Liberty's going to win, or Liberty's going to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Give me liberty or give me money, because it's probably a loss.
All right.
Probably is.
No, but
All right, we
Well,
go
let's-
now to 6 o'clock on ESPN. Number 6 Alabama, number 10 LSU in Baton Rouge at night.
Mm-hmm.
Just letting you know, it's in Baton Rouge
Right.
and it's at night. It is it is within the margin of
A pick 'em for the system.
a pick 'em for the system. Yeah, it is.
What-
It is.
I mean 50-50.
No,
Yeah.
so 45 to 55. If the system is that whoever the public takes, I take
go the
opposite.
other way.
It's the Emily Spears system.
What is the spread, Chris?
13.5. Home dog
Alabama
is LSU.
LSU is a home dog.
Man, I can't get over that Ole Miss game that LSU played. What if that happens?
How about that? I mean, we saw the stats. I mean, statistically speaking, Bryce Young and Jaden Daniels are pretty well equals.
He's a baller, LSU's quarterback.
Both of them are. But
That's true,
Daniels
yeah.
has really come on here over the last little bit and really played well. But again, Alabama scares me in these situations.
Right. Yeah,
It's
the
like
end of the season.
And it's like they've been disrespected, and I get pissed off. I'm taking Alabama.
Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep, me too. I'm going Alabama as well because you're right, Mo. They're like Tom Brady. Whenever he gets mad about losing, it's like, why are you so angry at us? We didn't really do anything.
54% of the public on LSU.
And I understand it, but I also understand that when Nick Saban coaches angry, bad things tend to happen for the other team.
Right.
So
6:30, Big Ten Network, number 5 Michigan, 26.5-point favorites against Rutgers.
this is at
I didn't,
Rutgers.
even want to say it out loud. Yes, it
I
is in.
understand.
It is in New Jersey.
And what did you say the number was?
It is 26.5.
I think Michigan wins this game by at least 4 touchdowns. Yeah, give me Michigan.
I think so too. I'm with you. So Piscataway or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This smells. You know what? I'm going to take a stab in the dark, and I'm going to go Rutgers because
You couldn't pay me to pick Rutgers for anything.
I'm just 25.5 points is a lot.
It's a ton of points. I agree with you.
Smells like an upset.
It is. It's a ton of points, but it's Rutgers.
It is Rutgers. And Michigan drubbed Penn State. So
right.
Yeah.
The system, though, taking Rutgers.
Let's go system. Let's ride.
6:30, Pac-12 Network, Arizona at Utah. Arizona 16.5-point underdogs at Utah. So Utah at home for number 14 Utes, 16.5-point favorite.
I don't see anything out of Arizona that makes me think Utah can't cover 17.
Well, last week they looked pretty darn good. I mean, for a while against USC.
Okay.
But I agree with you. I think Cam Rising is just too darn good, and I've got Utah at home to cover 16.5 points. I don't think it's close.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with Utah as well.
All right. Arizona, the system's pick. 24% of the public on Arizona.
That makes sense.
9:30, Pac-12 After Dark. Arizona State, home dogs, 10.5 points to UCLA.
Arizona State home dogs.
With their interim coach.
What was the number?
It is 10.5.
That's just scandalous enough to make you think.
I like UCLA here. I think they're playing too well. And
Took the words out of my mouth.
I mean,
I too.
I'm gonna go with Arizona State here. Just for whatever reason, you know, they've gone to the other quarterback, Burgett, and you know, 3 for 435 and 3 touchdowns last week in his first start. So I don't know. It's at home. It's Pac-12 after dark. Weird things happen. I'm going Sun Devils.
there you go. I understand. Justin, what did you say? What did you say?
I'm going to go with UCLA as well.
All right.
Once again, Pac-12 after dark. This is a 9:30 kick on ESPN. Cal at USC. Number 9 Trojans, 19.5 at home.
Against Cal?
I got the Trojans. 3 touchdowns.
I'm gonna go Cal. Golden Bears.
I like USC in this by 3 touchdowns, like you said, at least.
At least, yes.
At least.
Of course, Lincoln Riley's so mad at Pac-12 officials right now. And finally, 2:30, CBS, Tennessee, Georgia. The spread here that we got, the original spread on Monday for ESPN, wherever they get their spread, I think it's from MGM. 7.5 point favorites are the Dogs. So Tennessee wins or loses by a touchdown or less.
I've been puzzling over this all week, starting as soon as that Kentucky game got over with, because I knew we were going to be picking it. And the more I think about it, the less bothered I am with Georgia's defense. I think Tennessee wins this game outright.
Let's go, Mo. Yes. See, I tried to use logic for the Alabama-Tennessee game, and I picked Alabama. I'm not going to do that anymore.
That too, Justin. That because Alabama scared me in that ball game.
Right.
I think the key to this game is going to be the Georgia defense, and I don't think they're going to hold up a lot better than anybody else has to this point.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you're right. I think they get hit in the mouth and they don't recover. Tennessee by 50.
What?
I go that far.
How much?
Tennessee by 45.
We don't have F's and T's here. It's 50.
50 burger.
Mo, you nailed it. Georgia's defense is not good. You can say whatever you want to. I'm telling you, they can be they got the number 1 defense in the country, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. They don't have a pass rush. They just lost their best pass rusher. They lost their best cornerback at the beginning of the year. He left the team. The guy who's playing outside on the other side of Ringo is not going to have a chance in hell of covering.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean,
he can't cover anybody.
They don't have enough guys in coverage to match up.
They're too small.
Tennessee wins this game by double digits. Book it.
Hendon Hooker seals his Heisman vote.
Hello.
Done.
Yep.
Done.
With his French mustard.
With his French's mustard.
Book it. Get the relish.
The system's taking Georgia. 33% of the public on Georgia, 67 on Tennessee.
Let's go. Wow. You got the public's vote.
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? Man, it's going to be a great football game. It's going to be a great, great week. Stick around here on Main Street Media. George Plaster, and then Friday Night Live. Don't forget to follow us at MS_sports today for all of your high school football, Southern Middle Tennessee action. We appreciate you guys being with us. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Justin, we'll see you on Monday morning. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I'm Chris Yao and Mo.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.